I uh, I thought I'd do a video this evening just to, I guess it's to help those that are interested in trance to kind of understand the process of what's happening and how it works for me. Now, there are there are many different thoughts and opinions of how trance works, and what we need to realize, at least from my perspective, is that the way that you connect to your team is unique by virtue of the fact that all of us are unique in the way that our minds work, in the way that our spirit team are able to connect to us. Now, you could have a set of spirit helpers, guides, inspirers, kind of call them what you will, really. You could have a set of guides working with one medium that would have a different set of results when trying to achieve the same objective than they would have with a different medium, because you are different. You really are all unique. And the way that the blending process works and the way that the communication comes across is unique because it depends on your spirit team's ability to connect to you and your spirit team's ability to influence your thoughts and that information that is accessible within your mind and the information that comes across through their ability to connect to you and pass across information. Now, the way it works for me is, for example, this evening, I will spend some time tuning in a way, to enable my mind to start to settle down. Because after this, after I've done some talking, I'll allow my guys to come forward and kind of take the conversation wherever it needs to go. I don't know what they'll say, so it'll be news to me when it becomes news to you. But the way it works for me is, as I've said, I spend that time allowing my mind to quieten. So I just put on some music that I like, that allows me to relax and to stop thinking about all the stuff that happens during the day or that has happened today, all the stuff that may happen tomorrow or happened yesterday. What I'm trying to do is to take my mind, my consciousness, my awareness to a single point of focus, which is the music. And then I start to notice what happens to my breathing. So it may be quite quick to start off with. When I'm quite animated, I'm quite aware of what I'm doing. And then yourself, as you listen to music, if it's something you find relaxing, you find your body starting to relax. When your body relaxes, your breathing slows down. When your breathing slows down, you feel more peaceful, more relaxed, and so it goes on. Now, I don't need to go through a process of opening up energy centers or chakras. I don't need to ask for angels or higher beings to connect me, to be able to be entranced. What I need to do is quite simply to set my intention with my spirit team. So I have already sent that thought to them and said to them, guys, tonight I'd like you to come forward and to inspire me, to influence me, to impress upon me what you would like to be said. So it brings me to the next point I'd like to make. And that is, I am part of the process. There is part of me that is aware of what's happening. Because in the vast majority of cases, when you're entranced by your spirit team, there is a sharing of the consciousness. And when I say the vast majority of cases, I'm referring to the fact that there is a degree of awareness of the medium of what is being said by the spirit friends. That is the case for the vast majority. Now, some mediums are taken into that state of what seems to be unconsciousness. It's a very, very controlled state of being. Now, you can't make that happen if it's not meant to. And it is not wrong to be aware of what's being said. You know, the aim is to provide space in your mind, in your consciousness, for your spirit team to blend with you and to share their thoughts and opinions and philosophy of whatever form they wish to share. So if we think that the aim is to somehow be taken from our body and to be put in some sort of holding area, then when we use that as a place that we think that we need to go to for the trance to be genuine, then we will be creating issues. When I say issues, I mean we will be hindering our ability to make that connection, because what is needed is for you to be part of this process. It's a decision-making process that happens in unison. You and your spirit team coming together. This is what is happening. It's not you being taken out of the equation and your spirit team coming along and speaking with no input from you. Remember, you have free will. So that means it is your choice. Who puts you in the trance state? Quite simply, you do, with the assistance of your spirit friends. So as you'll see, when I allow them to come forward, when I invite them, I send a thought to them and say, guys, let's use that trance state now. I want you to blend with me. And that process of blending brings forward an acknowledgement in my mind, an awareness, because I feel a certain way when I'm blending. When I say I feel a certain way, there are physiological reactions within my body that happen every time when my spirit team start to blend with me, that enter in my energy field, my aura. As they do that, physiological reactions happen within me. And that's kind of a clue that I understand then that process is happening. They're making this connection, coming together, them and me coming together. And then it becomes us. So I think it's really important to say to people that wish to develop it, but our mind's ability to hinder ourselves is really quite staggering. And that will come down to things that we've been told by other people. It will come down to thoughts and opinions being propagated as the truth. Now, there is an element of truth in everything, I guess. But the ultimate truth really is what you experience. It is allowing your spirit team to make that connection and just be in that experience. Notice how it feels as you go through the blending process. And that kind of takes me to, the next question of how do I know that I'm being entranced? Well, the first thing is you need to understand how you feel when you haven't involved the spirit world in your awareness. And that's as simple as closing your eyes and allowing your mind to settle, and you just allow yourself to be. And ask yourself, how do I feel kind of emotionally? How do I feel in my mind? Do I feel relaxed? Do I feel calm? And when you understand kind of what your baseline is, then when you send a thought to your spirit friends and you ask them to to start to blend with your energy. Your energy is your auric field, so it's all around you. As you ask them to blend with you, a few things should happen. It's really important, and this was a thing that was taught to me, certainly during my early days, that has been invaluable, and that is to make sure that those we connect to feel loving, that they feel like the type of energy that we want to connect to. So you would ask yourself the question, what type of energy, what type of spiritual presence do I want to influence me? And the answer is the sort of friend that you would like, someone that is loving, someone that is kind, someone that makes you feel safe. And so I've heard many people have this, question come back and say, well, surely the spirit world know what we want. So do we not leave it up to them? And I would then ask you the question, do you leave everything in life, in your life, to chance? Or do you make decisions? And the same must be said for your connection to the spirit world. You need to say to the spirit world what you want and, more importantly, what you don't want. So you have a team of spirit helpers, inspirers, guides, call them what you will. Their job is to assist you in your development, your mediumistic practices. Now, some of those practices may be things that you feel really passionate about. And sometimes you may feel drawn to practice certain areas because there is something inside you that is saying, I need to go down this path. And that's kind of like your intuition, really, isn't it? Just saying that I feel drawn to a certain aspect, whether it be healing or one-to-one readings or, other forms of clairvoyance or artwork or physical mediumship. There is an inner knowing. Now, trance is not just about philosophy. So when we say trance, we're talking of being in an altered state. And let's face it, every moment of your life is an altered state. So let's not think that, we are the great minority that use an altered state to assist us in our development, because the fact is, all of your mediumship, whether you understand it or not, involves you being in an altered state of some sort. And you can be in an altered state when you're looking out the window and you hear a conversation happening, but you're not really listening to it. It's just something that's happening in your awareness. As you're driving a car, very common one, you go into an altered state. You kind of forget places that you've driven through because it may become second nature. If you're washing up, you're doing the ironing, you're reading a book or watching telly, if you're not fully focused in it, your state of consciousness changes, doesn't it? It goes into that kind of receptive state where you can hear what's going on around you, but you're not fully present in that moment. You feel a little bit out of it in some ways. So it's important to recognize that we can use this changing state of consciousness to assist us. Now, it's up to you to decide where you want to focus your attention. So tonight, I will ask my guides to speak. So we could say, in some ways, they are going to share a philosophy of thought of some kind. I don't know what it'll be. It could be that there will be an occasion where they will blend with me, and maybe there would be an audience, of people, especially on Zoom, and the audience could put a question to them. And therefore, there will be a communication going on, a conversation. Now, I could be aware, me, the medium, be aware of the question coming to me. I can be aware of thoughts arriving in my mind from my spirit friends. And then I can be aware of that process of them sharing the information through me using my voice. And I guess what we're aiming to do is to allow the percentages when we go into trance to be as much in the favor of our spirit friends than us. So as I'm talking to you now, let us say that 95% of what I say and what I'm thinking is very much me. Maybe there is the presence of my spirit team that influence a thought or a feeling or an opinion to be shared in what I'm saying now. But that's very much me. However, if you imagine that we're coming together and the blending process is getting stronger and stronger, what's happening is the balance of favor is tilting to the spirit friends. So it therefore may be that, 70 or 80% of all of those thoughts, opinions, and whatever the case may be, is very much generated and influenced by the spirit world. Now, we have to imagine that if it was like a seesaw, that it's now in the favor of the spirit world. And so my influence, say here, is much less. During the course of that conversation, it tilts, it alters, it never stays the same. So we often have this feeling. You will understand as you're in that trance state, you will understand that the feeling becomes more apparent. So it will feel that you've suddenly become more aware. Your awareness is shifting so that you seem to be and feel as if you're much more part of the experience. But as your mind settles again, it then tilts in the favor of your spirit friends. So the point is, we are trying to enable the spirit world to have more of a say, to be more in control of the conversation. So I hope that makes sense. Then we come to things like knowing that we're in trance. So as an observer, if I'm watching someone else and we're practicing in, say, one of the classes that I run, you will start to notice a few things. Let's talk firstly about the energy. So even if we're working remotely, or if we're working in the same room together, you'll notice as this blending process is happening, as the medium and the spirit world are joining forces, you will notice a change in the energy. You will be able to feel physically a reaction, both as the medium and as the observer. That energy, that reaction doesn't have to be in person. There is an awareness that is happening between us, even with distance. Because if energy, which that is what it is, it's in the same form as light in some ways, and if that's moving at 300,000 miles a second, then no matter where you are on the earth, it is going to take the most minuscule time for that energy to have a reaction with me as the observer. So that's something that you're going to notice also as the medium. You will feel yourself taking on possibly characteristics, which takes me to the next point. So let's say you were 5 foot tall and you weighed 100 pounds in weight. And let's say that the energy, the spirit friend that was blending with you, let's say energetically they were a much bigger person. Let's say they were 6 foot tall and 250 pounds. Their energy also, their presence could be very much more different to yours. So as they blend with you, as you feel this process happening, this coming together, you may feel yourself expanding. It's like you're growing. So if you imagine that if this huge energy starts to blend with you, you feel the impression of that. You feel that coming together so that the presence is much greater because you have the spirit friend and yourself coming together. There is more energy. There is this coming together. So you may feel yourself expand. You may feel like you're growing taller. And of course, you're not literally growing taller, but you feel the energetic presence. You may feel, and it's very likely, in fact, that you will feel differences in the personality, in the essence. So if you're very relaxed and the energetic presence comes closer and you feel that blending happening, if the person that's blending with you is very forceful, very determined, very forthright, very strong, very willing to share their thoughts and opinions, as they blend with you, you will feel it. You will feel that presence starting to share that space within your consciousness. And through your mind, you can then express it. Okay. Now, one of the other signs is that as the observer, you may hear the vocal differences. So as that connection is made, as you get this like interface, this coming together, you may start to notice that when the medium is speaking, they're very much as you observe them. However, as you become aware of the blending process, let's see we're coming together like this, you start to notice that the closer, the more connected the guide gets to the medium. You may notice vocal changes like characteristics of speech change. So it may be that the female voice then becomes deeper as this male energy connects. You may start to notice that the way that they speak, the speed at which they speak changes. You start to notice things that aren't an ordinary part of the medium speech. And so you ask yourself the question, well, if the medium doesn't speak like that normally, then why is this happening? And the point is, we are sharing consciousness with consciousness, and it is influencing your mind and your ability to speak in a greater and greater to a greater degree. Now, you will notice that maybe the accent changes. So it may be that the guide was your archetypal Native American, and you may notice just a different way that they just sound different, and it becomes obvious. Now, as that process happens, we have to remember that it never stays static, like I said before, that the connection, it waxes and wanes, it gets closer and then further away, so on and so forth. And that happens, it is like almost like a wave. So that connection changes and is never exactly still, because the mind is never still. So therefore, the connection never will be still either. Now, some people do get concerned that they don't sound different. That isn't something to be concerned about. Allow it to manifest in the way that it's meant to. The most important thing is that as the observer and also as the medium, you will feel a difference in the energy. That is the operative word, feel a difference. And everyone observing should be able to feel the differences the medium connects, and you become aware of the spirit communicator. So I just wanted to share those thoughts, those opinions. Now, I know when I do connect with spirit, I can feel the room also getting colder. So there may be physical changes within the atmosphere. And this kind of brings me on to the next thing, that sometimes you will feel the atmosphere change, and in a really physical sense. Now, the line between trance, which is obviously mental mediumship, and physical mediumship, there is a point at which they come together. And sometimes, if this is the point, we can go from trance and mental mediumship into the realms of physical mediumship, where we start to see differences, physiological differences. Now, sometimes it may be, that you become aware of physical phenomena, in the sense of sometimes there is say, transfiguration. That's certainly possible, but more common will be overshadowing. So that as you look at me, for example, you may see that their face seems to take on different characteristics. Now, that doesn't mean you're transfiguring. It means that as the observer, your clairvoyance is picking up on the blending. So it is the medium and the spirit communicator, and you are seeing aspects of the spirit communicator's spiritual presence blended with mine, so that you may see that there is an obvious coming together. Now, it doesn't have to happen. It won't always happen. And you may see it to varying degrees of intensity. But if there is that propensity, that possibility that the medium can work with aspects of physical mediumship, then as the observer, you may see with your physical eyes things like the mist around the medium, like energy. You may smell things like ectoplasm. There may be sensations. There may be the cold breeze moving from the floor upwards, usually to around about the knees. And that's certainly not uncommon. And there just may be a knowing that you know something more tangible is happening. But that's not something to be overly concerned about. If you have that propensity, then, so be it. But, the lines aren't delineated with a start and a finish point. This mental process works down a line, and at some point along there, you may see a coming together of different types of mediumship at the same time. Anyway, so I kind of think that covers the major points. So what I want to do now is I'm going to spend some time blending with my team. And I just want them to speak to you about whatever takes their fancy. And I don't go into it with an idea of what will be said. I hope they say something. Otherwise, it's going to be quite quiet. And so we'll see where it goes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spend time blending. Now, that's a really important aspect. I know it sounds obvious, spend time blending. Well, of course, you want to go into trance, but when you first feel that presence of your guides, do not be in a rush to say something to fill in the gap, the silence. Allow that pressure, that willingness, that need to speak, allow it to build up until you really feel that urge rising within you, almost like the magma of a volcano, rising, getting higher and higher until there is that eruption of words. And you have to be the person, finally, that starts the conversation. What will happen is you will know that you start by saying, I don't know, good evening or good morning, or whatever the case may be. And as you start that conversation, the connection gets stronger and stronger. That is your best way, I think, of getting a great connection, is just by speaking. And you'll notice the connection will feel different, it'll sound different. People that are listening should notice the difference. That is just how it works. So anyway, I'm just going to take a sip of water. I can feel the room is getting very cold in here, and I am sat in my seance room, so it's not surprising. Just look slightly. There is my cabinet. So it's very dark, obviously, because the lighting isn't particularly amazing in here. I can feel the coldness building up from the floor upwards now. So what I'm going to do is to invite them to blend with me. Like I said before, we are part of the process. So I say to my team, let's work and let's see what they say. Okay, so I'm just going to go into that quiet space and I will catch you guys in a bit. Yeah. Mm, mm, okay. Now, good evening, my friends, and thank you for sharing this space with us. Now, as you can see, the medium is animated to a degree. He is receptive to us, and we are aiming to allow our thoughts and opinions to enter his mind so that he may have the awareness to share them, but not exert control over what is said. It is allowing a speech, a thought, an opinion to be shared without filtering it too much through his mind. Now, what he has not spoken of is the fact that we do not necessarily agree with each other, although there is a great deal of harmony between us. But our thoughts and opinions are also based on our experience. And therefore, you must sometimes become aware that what is said by the medium may not be his opinion. You are listening to the influence, the thoughts, and the presence of those who work with him. But, as you well know, a friend that you get on with is a much easier person to know and to live with. If you try to make yourself like someone who is not the same mindset as you or of a similar philosophy and background, if you do not feel a compatibility in the physical life or in the spiritual mediumistic communication, then you know it will not be an easy process. So you have to understand that you will feel a sympathy, a resonance with the medium, and the medium with the spirit communicator. So, the next point that we would like to make is that when you seek to have a relationship with the spirit world, allow patience to become part of the process of learning. What we see is yeah, sometimes there is a impatience on behalf of the medium. They wish to have everything right now. And while we admire the vigor in which the medium wishes to learn, sometimes we have to understand that the process of learning itself is a gradual one. You cannot make yourself become wise, and you cannot make yourself learn quicker than it is possible for you in tandem with the spirit friends. We think a reflection upon the ability that you have to connect is very wise to have. When you go from being connected and when you become just part of the experience on your own, when you're sitting in your own presence, understand how that has come into being. Understand that you are giving
an aspect of your personality, the opportunity to blend with this kind of entity. And this is what we are. But you know the the thing that we need you to understand is by allowing the process to unfold naturally, you will appreciate its presence and significance to a greater degree of clarity. For example, when we first started working with the boy, it was very much what he could feel. But we could not overload him with many different influences. We had to ease ourselves in. What you are doing is you are sharing a very gentle, receptive aspect of your personality. You are asking yourself to become receptive to this kind of presence that is trying to interfere. And when something tries to interfere with your consciousness, you react in a way of analyzing whether you are in danger, whether you need to escape from the experience that is happening to you. And you will know that if you have been learning a subject, if the teacher shares too much information at one time, you know some of it soaks in, but most of it is reflected, returned to the sender. So we have to look at the potential of the medium. How much information, how much influence can we exert upon them before it becomes too much? And then you need to assimilate that information, that understanding, that awareness of how we connect to you. And then the next time, we have started from a greater position of understanding. And so we can drip feed more of us to you. And you can open more of your mind, of your consciousness, of your awareness, of your ability to assimilate our character, our presence, our energy, our thoughts. You know that you can allow this to happen. You can increase your receptivity because you are becoming acclimatized. You know, it is like if you went on a holiday and you are from a cold country and you go to the hottest place you can find. When you walk out of the door and you are hit by a blast wave of heat, it will confuse you. It will cause you to recoil because you are not used to it. And yet, if you allow yourself little by little to become used to that presence, that experience, that reaction, the physical reaction, then you will become more used to it. And as the days go by, you tolerate more. And this is how we increase our ability to influence you. Now, the question you must ask yourself is, how much control are you willing to give? And many people say that I want to be entranced by my guides, but I cannot feel them. I can't seem to make a connection. No. Saying that you want to connect to us is different from doing it. There is an element within you, whether it is subconscious or conscious, that you are fearful. You are fearful. You are fearful of being judged. You are fearful of failing. You are fearful of people saying, well, I don't understand what is happening here. What is going on? Do you trust yourself as much as do you trust us? So what if you fail? Because are you failing in your own eyes or the eyes of someone else? And if that someone else is judging you, it is not from a position of experience of their connection with us, because they are not connected to us like you are. You are learning. Be receptive to learning, but be gentle on yourself. What you have is an opportunity. And where is the rush? You may ask yourself, when is the time? When am I ready to share my philosophy? Well, you may not wish to share it with people publicly. It may be a personal experience between you and your spirit friends. Ask yourself the question, what do you want to do with it? How does it feel when you make this connection? What happens within your heart? Do you feel our love when you connect? If you feel fear, then you must let go of it. Fear will shackle you. It will be an anchor that will stop you moving. And we want you to be free to sail the seas of consciousness, to connect with us, to go on a journey, to experience our love for you. This is not about being a philosopher. This is about manifesting the greatest degree of your potential. Whether you are ever known to the wider public is not of our concern. However, any opportunity to learn and to share your wisdom and to share the wisdom of your spirit friends, that is always welcome. How you choose to manifest your ability is a question only you can answer. It may be that you express yourself through the medium of art, bringing a loved one to a paper. It may be that you have words within your mind that we can influence and we can color. And then to bring it onto paper in a written form. That is not to say it is any less worthy. If you are having love in your heart when you do this, then are you not fulfilling your potential? It may be that you wish to allow a voice for us. We are unseen until we manifest within the world or we express ourselves through the mediumship of philosophy, of sharing our thoughts through your voice. You see the importance of you manifesting what is good for you, what fills your heart with joy and with gladness. What we are seeking is your happiness, but also your cooperation. Now, okay. My dears, as we go on this journey, understand that we are walking it together. We only seek your love. We seek to influence you, to guide you, to walk the journey with you. But we know that the challenges are many. Confidence, understanding, the ability to trust, not only in yourself, but in those that work with you. When we are judged and when we feel we are judged, it holds us back. We are like caged animals. So what we must do is trust in ourselves. And how do we manifest the feeling of trust? By understanding how we do it. There is no substitute for hard work. And why should there be? When you work hard, you understand it, you appreciate it. You know it came from a place of effort, of courage, of perseverance. If you are willing to bring all of these aspects of the human personality to your mediumship, you cannot fail. Do not surrender to hard work. Embrace it. Understand that as you make this connection to us, you will gain greater appreciation for what we do together. What we are seeking is an opportunity to express ourselves to the wider spirit world. To the spirit world incarnate and the spirit world discarnate. It's soul-to-soul communion, isn't it? We're not speaking to your minds, we're speaking to your hearts. We're speaking to the real you. The you that doesn't put up barriers. Now, as you go along this journey, understand that failure is not the end. It is the beginning of a new understanding. That as you go about your journey, sometimes you go down a dead end, but by golly, you learn something, don't you? You understand what it is to experience failure, but then you savor success. Can you imagine if we had the ability to only achieve success? What would we really know? What would we really know? We wouldn't learn suffering, would we? We wouldn't become wiser through suffering if all that we ever experienced was success. True wisdom is learned through toil, through hardship, through reflection, through comradeship, friendship. Yeah. Okay. Now, what you must ask yourself, my friends, is what are you willing to do? What are you willing to put up with in order to achieve your dreams? You can learn much through other people's teachings, but you learn more through your own experience. Trust your own intuition. You will know it is right for you because you will feel it. It will speak like a voice straight to your heart. It doesn't matter who the source of the experience is in your life,
because it needs to work for you. You need to agree with what is being said. The truth is only applicable to a person who it resonates with. So if it does not resonate, my friends, you walk away. It is not your truth. Do not follow blindly behind someone who is walking the journey for you. Do not do this. If there is a path in front of you and there are no footsteps to follow, then you walk your own path. Ask us to walk it with you. Ask us to help you. Involve us in your life, but do not ask us to live your life for you. Otherwise, who is doing the learning? Is it you or us? The fact is that we learn from everything that you do, but do not follow blindly. Seek the truth from those who would share the truth and feel its presence with your heart. Do not listen to someone who just speaks from their own experience and it does not resonate with you. Whether you talk about the media, whether you talk about the person next to you at the bus stop, the fact remains that you are responsible for your journey, for your actions and your decisions. Do not blame someone else for what is going on with your life. If you do not agree, then do not do it. We cannot make it clearer than this. You want to be independent and yet you do not want to make the decision. That is what we see. If you want to be independent, then you make the decision. You cast the footprints in the sand. You leave an impression. Maybe we will follow you. Maybe the wisdom is in your choices. What you choose to do is unique to you. The way that you do it is unique to you. You have a finite time living a physical life. Finite. It comes to an end, my friends. Understand the implications of that sentence. It comes to an end. Your life comes to an end. Physical experience is far greater than you would give it credit for. So let us say that you have passed to the world of spirit. You have joined us. If there is no pain to be experienced, if disease cannot teach you anything, it cannot implicate itself within your life. If all you know is a ceaseless life of eternal bliss, do you think it would teach you as much as the physical presence, the disability, the disease, the war, the famine? what it is to live in society, what it is to have a decision to make that affects other people. We wish to guide you and learn from you, learn from your mistakes and your successes, because do not see that you have the greatest opportunity. We are the lucky ones, for we are learning from you. My friends, as we return the boy to you, please reflect upon what we have said. Whatever resonates with you, please consider it. And whatever does not resonate, then reject it. Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, hmm, okay. Now, as we relinquish our control over the medium, we would thank you. We thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts with you. And you know, we do see a great deal of potential within you and the community that you represent. Do not allow yourself to be influenced or swayed by others. If it does not feel right to you, we love you dearly and we want the very best for you. Know that we walk alongside you. We respect the choices that you make, even if we do not agree with them, because they will teach you. You will learn. May the blessings of the Great Spirit walk with you. May you have love within your hearts and minds. May you consider other people to be your teachers. And may that you know your journey is one of experience, of love, of hatred, of acceptance and rejection. It does not mean it is wrong to experience these things. It means that it is the process of life and interaction with other people. We see that there is often a discord amongst people, and while you would seek to fix it, understand that there is still a lesson to be learned. But we ask that you always have an open heart and consider your words before you release them to the world. Consider them before you release them into your own mind. Be mindful. Allow your mind to be full of love, full of respect and tolerance. Manifest that which you wish to become. Think kindness. Speak kindness. Act kindly. You see, this journey is one of experience, and we wish each and every one of you a safe homeward journey through the experience that you call life. For it is finite, as my friend has already spoken. Do not be in a rush to join us, but do not go through this experience without learning something. And we wish you all of the love that you can possibly feel within your heart. God bless.
Okay, so uh, hopefully, hopefully, whatever was said has there is some resonance with you. Um, it's interesting. It seems quite vivid in the moment, and yet as I try to think back about what was said, it's um, it's never clear. It's never clear about what is said. So I shall watch it back, and we'll go from there. But what I want you guys to consider is that the process is ongoing. And when we say the process, you and your relationship to those that work with you. Um, you may have been aware of some of those features that we spoke about how we understand someone to be in trance and how they can influence you. Now, each one of you is unique. So please do not think that the way it works for me has to work for you, because you're not the same as your neighbor. So accept that, but there are guidelines, there are things that we can notice, things that we can understand that start to make sense of the experience that we're having. So I'll leave this video there. Now, if you're interested in developing altered states and trance work, I do have various circles, so gatherings on a regular basis for those wishing to develop it. I do also have periodical courses of tuition via Zoom. Now, if as the restrictions ease, you want to have face-to-face trance tuition, then contact me at andrewcodling.com, my website, or Andrew Codling Medium and Tutor. That's on my Facebook page, or you can find me on Instagram, Andrew Codling Medium and Tutor. So there are periodical courses. So if you want to learn trance, as I have a couple of groups going at the moment, then get in contact with me and I take you from the beginning, making that connection, understanding it. And we have exercises, we work as a group, we work in pairs, and no question is ever a stupid question, because it brings learning to both of us. And there's been great feedback, and I really, really enjoy it. The opportunity to share in something that I feel passionate about is a gift in itself. So, I hope you have a great rest of the weekend or the day whenever you're watching this. And thank you for your time. And so, if you want to get in contact with me, you know where I am. But for now, have a great evening, and I will catch you soon. Take care now.